We'll call the meeting to order. Today, Tuesday, September 28th at 4:00 something, 2.
Three.
And we'll call the, how did this get up on here? This is, it's nice. I just had what I needed and it just flew. No fair. All right. Just a sec. I had my info right there, and what do you know? Where are the simple joys of COA meeting? Well,
Bob, do you want me to resend it to you?
no, I'm just looking right here. Should be. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay, roll call. Kate Bliss,
Here.
Karen Schultz,
Here.
Lori Fairbay,
Here.
Rachel Boyer,
Here.
Wes Durant, we know where he is. Pat Wheeler,
Here.
Bob Blair here. Other attendees, Chris Keefe indicated she was going to be probably late if she was able to make it at all. I think Margaret's not on. Is that correct?
No, she's, I believe she's in an interview right now for
Okay.
somebody for town.
All right. And Victoria Flynn is right there. All right. Can we have an acceptance of the minutes from our meeting of August 31st? Okay. We don't want to
Motion.
accept them. We'll just shop them around, see if anybody else wants them. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes? Or
I'll
would you
make a
like-
motion to accept the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in hush phone. All those in favor? Kate Bliss,
Aye.
Karen Schultz,
Aye.
Lori Fairbay,
Aye.
Rachel Boyer,
Aye.
Wes Durant, all right, Pat Wheeler. Pat Wheeler,
Here.
okay, that'll do. Bob Blair, aye. Passes unanimously. Very good. We have financial updates on donations, expenses, part-time wages, and director wages.
All right, so as of our last meeting, guys, here's where we stand. Donations equal $72 even. Expenses are $185 and 42 cents. Part-time wages are $542 and 80 cents, and then my wages are $2,214 and 44 cents.
Okay. Any questions on that? What are the donations from? Is that just for fees for
It's-
Tai Chi yoga?
Tai Chi yoga, and then about once a month or so, we get a van donation.
Okay. That must be a really good ride if they're moved to help pay for it.
Wait,
Any
Victoria, can you just repeat yours? I caught all the numbers except for yours.
Yep, it's $2,214 and 44 cents.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Report on van ridership. I understand that, what's the situation with the driver now, speaking of vans?
So, our lone van driver gave her notice. Her last day is gonna be Friday. I had interviewed somebody last week for the van ridership, and I had reached out to them today to follow up, and they have rescinded their offer. So what we're doing is, I'm currently comparing our COA van driver rates with other local towns just to see if we need to up what we're offering per hour. And I'm working with Margaret on that. What I'm hoping we can do is maybe I want to maybe edit the job description to potentially post it for 8 to 10 hours max and see if we can get more applicants in that way. Because I'm wondering if the fact that it's just like a per diem or an unclear amount of hours per week may be part of the issue. So I'm wondering if maybe posting it for 8 to 10 hours a week, we have one driver who's, available, and then we maybe even have some on-call drivers. That may be a way to move forward.
How many hours is the present driver driving a week?
It really depends. There's been some weeks where it's like 5 to 6 hours. I think last week was the highest in a while, and it was 13.
Okay, so if the driver are we expecting the driver to be available for a certain block of hours each day during the week?
At this point, the earliest ride that we've had has been about 8:30 in the morning. And then the last ride that I've scheduled has been 3 to 3:30. We try to get, rides, obviously a little bit later in the morning and to end a little bit earlier in the afternoon. It's really those who have medical appointments that are kind of the unknown factor, because those who are just requesting trips to the grocery store, we're pretty flexible. We can put them in wherever. So it's been more the medical appointments that have been hanging us up.
Okay, I understand the request for rides, but my question is, with respect to the driver, are we saying to the driver, you'll get paid just for the actual time you're driving? Or do we give the driver so much per day, whether they drive or not, because they're making themselves available and blocking out time that they could spend on making millions in the stock market or building houses or doing something else?
So previously, the way that I believe it works with accounting is that they look at a day of driving is about 4 hours.
Yeah.
We could go back to that. It's just, but we've had some days where it's been like, 2 or 3 hours, and then we've had other days where it's been closer to 5. So we could definitely, do something where we could have set hours and just tell people going forward, we're only going to have availability, 10 or, 9:30 to 2:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's it. Going forward.
How does anybody else feel about the hours and compensation for the driver?
Kate, go ahead, honey. I see your hand.
Yeah, I had 2 questions here, but I guess to answer this immediate question, I wonder if we could do a per diem rate where and I don't know what the going rate is in the state for this type of thing, but let's just, for argument's sake, $3 an hour just for your time that you may be utilized during this chunk. And then if you actually work, then you get paid whatever the rate is. Like, does that, I don't know if that's feasible, but maybe that would put a little extra. So even if they sit there waiting for a request to come in, they've still made, $15 that day, or I don't know, whatever.
I think, as Victoria said, comparing us with other COAs and senior centers and so forth in the area is a good idea. My concern is that you're not going to attract somebody to the job if it turns out that they're getting paid for 3 hours of driving a week, because that's all that was requested that week. And yet we're asking them to be available for 5 days or 4 days, whatever it is. And so they're blocking out the time when they can be putting to other uses. And then you also get the deal where somebody pops up and says, actually, you have to have advance notice about wanting a ride. So that part factors in. But
did we get any feedback from our driver? Was there a particular reason why this person left that maybe
it was wages?
remedy?
Yeah, it was wages, and they wound up having other commitments that, took up more of their time. And I totally understood. Unfortunately, I know pre-COVID, we were able to do a lot more. Like, we were able to schedule, specific days would be like a market basket run or, a Target run or things like that. And then, we were able to accommodate that way. As of right now, the van was still doing one household per ride as well, which did complicate things a bit because we did have people. I remember there was one day last month, we had 6 requests for the same day, the same time, and we could only obviously take one. And that's the only time that's happened in my, my time being here. I wish, I wish we could kind of go back to the way things were pre-COVID, because then we could take multiple people at the same time, which would then allow maybe more of a guarantee for the hours. Because we're not, asking people to stretch out time, or, we're not saying, I'm sorry, we can't accommodate you for this one because we've had potentially something scheduled here. I think as a whole, it looks like a lot of other towns, we're not unique. There's a lot of other towns that have had van driver turnover. Some towns I think have been more successful than others in trying to do it. It's unfortunately, like I said, we're not unique to the situation. I think it hits us a bit harder because our seniors are so reliant on this service, and they, we are definitely going to feel the pinch. I mean, we're still getting calls like to this day, and I'm basically telling people, when I know more, I will call you back.
Are we still running one passenger in the van?
Yeah,
Yeah, that messes things up for sure.
it does. And unfortunately, because COVID numbers have gone up, we can't justify lowering, you know what I mean? We can't justify adding more people now to the van because we don't want to increase any risk of exposure. I mean, I like the idea potentially of a per diem. Like I said, I did ask Margaret to see where other towns stand, because maybe we could do something like a per diem rate, or we could do something where, we offer, a bonus or something like that if they stay on for so many months. I'm not sure exactly what the solution is going to be. I'm wondering, like you guys are suggesting, maybe what we do is we designate just these days, these times. And if that's what this person is being paid, guaranteed whether they ride or not, if the council is fine with it, I can bring it to June and to Margaret, and we can pursue it from there.
I can say that when I go to Clinton Senior Center on Tuesdays, they have 3 vans, I think, that they run, and they have a stable of drivers who operate them. They recently, I've seen the vans parked, not out operating so much. That may reflect the reduced ridership requirements because of COVID. But I mean, and also some van services operated by COAs and so forth specify certain days for shopping and certain days for medical appointments. So I think that might give our clients a way to focus and make those days more efficient in terms of delivery to hospitals and clinics and whatever. But also, I think, schools are having a heck of a time getting enough drivers for their buses, and they've really jacked their prices, their wages. The people who are driving, Judy Mills drives I think she runs vans, but she's qualified to drive the big buses. But if you have certain qualifications as a school bus driver, they're paying, I don't know, it's $25 or $30 an hour.
Yeah. I heard that
And they
too.
get
The
paid.
National Guard is driving them.
Yeah, and they get paid for a certain number of hours. I mean, it's really works out to I would find that attractive if I needed a job and I had other things to do and could count on, okay, I'm going to work these hours, and if I only get 2 riders and I don't have to be there for all of those hours, I still get paid for the 4 hours because I've committed my time to it. I think that has to be worked out, or we're just going to get a big yawn from anybody if we ask them to be a driver for us.
So,
agree.
yeah,
I think we need like a minimum guarantee kind of thing that,
Yeah, I agree.
even if you're sitting there doing a Sudoku and waiting for a call, it's valuable in some way.
Yeah, you're paid for
Okay.
your time.
exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
That's like a retainer, right?
Yes.
Similar, yeah.
Okay.
So I guess my question to you guys, is there a particular number of hours then? Because we can tweak, the requirements, or we can tweak the posting. I have no problem with that. Do you guys want to, is there like a particular number of mine that you're looking at? Like 6 hours a week, 8 hours a week? Because 6 hours a week is just under $100.
I think we need to sit down, contact the other COAs and other providers of similar services, find out their rates, how they break up their offerings, and use that plus our own budgetary machinations and figure out what we're going to pay, make it attractive so that we get people who are eager to do the work, not who are just kind of doing it for a couple of weeks until they get tired of it because they don't think it's paying them anything. I think we need to get all that ironed out before we set a policy, and I think that needs to happen PDQ between Margaret and you, Victoria, and if you want any of us to help searching around and asking questions, I'd certainly be happy to do that, help.
Yeah.
I've got a few towns members. I can send it out to you guys, and maybe what we can do is if you all come across any other numbers as well, that might be, that's again, something that we can use pretty quickly. There's some towns that I know last year the town had a consultant come in and they basically looked at all of the wages for all of the different departments. And the van driver wasn't increased as of yet. I guess it was within market rate, but I'm also wondering too, with the new fiscal year, other towns may have changed that rate. Again, especially going with all of the points that you all are making. So that is definitely something we can look into. And I'm open to anything. We still have a good chunk of our budget left for that part-time driver. We've only spent about $3,000 out of our budget so far for this year. So we have another $21,000 for, until, the end of June. So we do have the funding. If for any reason we got close financially, I would let you guys know and we could do what we needed to do internally to cover it. But at this point, we have sufficient funding.
Okay, so I think we could add fresh donuts and hot latte on the island for the driver as they get in the van in the morning. I think there was some issue about, I think I heard from Ginny that there's some issue about a second set of keys because the lockbox is in a weird location near the food
So
pantry.
we have a lockbox. It's in the vestibule of the town offices. It's there because back before the building was open, I needed a way to make sure that the drivers could get the keys safely without waiting or being dependent on somebody else to get it. We can, at this point, the van is parked in the highway barn. We can reconsider where to put that lockbox, if we should just put it like at the highway barn, if we need to move it. At the time, that was just the best solution that we could come up with.
Okay, right now, we just have one driver. We don't
Right.
let the driver take the keys with him or her.
Ginny may have a set with her. There are 2 keys. I believe the other one's in the box, but I will check it out.
Okay, yeah, if they have to pick up the van at the highway barn, I would think it would make sense to have the lockbox there.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are other towns transporting just one senior at a time on their vans or more than one?
That's a good question, Lori. I will have to reach out to the other directors and see what their policies are. I honestly don't know, but
There's
I
no
can ask them.
There's no state mandate saying it has to be one.
At this point, the only state mandate that I'm aware of is that whenever you are on public transportation, you need to follow PPE guidelines. Like you have to be masked, you have to be, if you're symptomatic, they don't want you riding, things like that. I will check in with the other COA directors and see what it is that they're doing with their drivers, and seeing if they're allowing multiple people to ride at the same time if they're going to a similar location. Or if they're still basically kind of doing judgment calls, like case by case basis.
The other
Or
aspect
even
is,
vaccination status. If others are comfortable being on the bus with others who are vaccinated, that might be an option too.
Right. That was originally what we were going to look towards was, when the numbers were starting to dip, just alerting people and saying, listen, we're thinking about having, multiple people on the van again. Please let us know if you have any objections. I don't think that too many people were going to object to it. I know Berlin's got a pretty decently high vaccination rate, but I was also thinking too of like driver safety as well. Like in case, again, God forbid something happens,
Yeah.
and everything's out of commission, so.
Do we know, you mentioned the cases going up, is that in the senior population more or less, or?
What the bits that I'm hearing, I'm not hearing specific age groups. I was made aware that there were about a dozen cases about a week or two ago for the town. I don't get specifics in terms of ages though.
Yeah, that data was easier to find last year, or I've forgotten how to find it on our town website at this point, but I was curious if those rates were ticking up and then the vaccination, rate was a concern for others.
I know when
If
we
they're
were,
vaccinated and that's not where the numbers are, we could maybe make the case for having more than one if everybody's comfortable with that.
I
Yeah,
think Berlin's vaccination rate, I think, is relatively high compared to our neighboring communities.
yeah, we're hovering right around 70%.
What does it take to get the other 30?
I don't know.
Whips and chains and,
Lots of kids in a couple weeks, hopefully.
yeah, that too. Well, then there's controversy on that within the schools. It's, okay, so how soon can we get this ironed out in terms of comparisons and what we're up against in terms of offerings? There's also, I meant to mention, there's also the issue of, in some cases, sharing drivers with other towns who say are only able to offer their drivers 10 hours, 15, 20 hours a week, and they want more time, that they could also drive for us.
Yep.
We have an offer from either, I don't remember if it was Boylston or Sterling or something like that a year ago, and they had a driver who wanted more hours. Could we use them? I
So
think
maybe we start the conversation there with those towns, find out what they pay and if they still have a driver that's,
Yeah,
especially if our driver gave her notice already.
yeah,
We're about to be in a bind.
yes. You all can drive, right?
I'm happy to make a call.
Yeah, so
Alright.
what I'll do is I will send out the information to you guys after the meeting. I'm hoping if we can get some additional details, maybe end of week. I have to
Good.
meet with Margaret on Friday and anyway, we can put forth our ideas. And like you guys said, I think it's going to be a combo between potentially like a per diem or a retainer rate with potentially, looking at the rates and things like that. So, like you said, I do think that there's going to be a solution here. Unfortunately, the good points that you guys are making as well, it's unfortunately not the senior vans, it's even school bus drivers as well. So, but I think, we do it. And like I said, the people who have been calling, asking for rides, they are aware of the situation and they are aware that they will be notified as soon as we have something definitive as well. So I'm going to make sure that they're not going to be left hanging either.
Is this something we're going to have to vote on? Because if that's the case, we need to have a special meeting.
Well, we can schedule a special meeting as soon as I know. So maybe what we can do is if I meet with my,
I don't know that we need a special meeting if it's simply a matter of rates.
yeah. I mean, at this point, the town is offering $15.29 an hour for the COA van driver.
Yeah.
I've seen a few towns already were higher than a couple and then we're lower than others. So we are kind of in the butter zone. From at least from the little bit that I have seen. However, I'm also wondering too, if we have a set number of, like you will be paid for 6 hours weekly minimum.
Yeah, I think
that may
that
be-
that has to be ironed out.
Yeah, I think that may be more the determining factor.
Yeah. Right. We don't want to ask and then be unappreciative when somebody says they'll commit time and then say, well, you're not driving, so no money. Okay. Anybody have any other questions, comments, or ideas on that, on the van ridership?
Well, I'm just curious, would the person that's leaving stay if some of this was worked out? Were there certain things they were asking for, like a higher rate or set hours?
So we were trying to figure out a higher rate for salary. I was trying to work out with FinCom about that. Margaret was aware. And the thought was just trying to go to FinCom to see if we can get the rate readjusted, because I do think that the position as a whole is just underpaid. I do. I don't honestly know if she would stay, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I can certainly reach out to her and see. At this point, we do have Jeannie. She is willing to commit like a day or two here and there potentially for as needed, like on-call services, but it's not a guarantee. So I'm not 100% sure.
All right, I was just curious.
Yeah.
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 And I think having set hours or set days is what most senior centers do. I just know when I've helped people in other towns to try to arrange for that, there seems to be set days,
Okay.
Like 2 days
Yeah,
a week.
if you could have two, if we had two drivers, one could be committed to 3 days and one could be committed to 2
And
days.
that's how
a
it
week.
was previously.
Mhm.
When we had two drivers. One did Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the other did Tuesday, Thursdays, and it worked out really well. But I mean, if we're down to one driver, maybe we can, maybe we may have to split the difference and do like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or just Tuesday, Thursday, just to start.
Okay.
Okay, so you figure you'll have some more definitive info by the end of the week?
I'm
or
hoping so,
beginning-
yeah.
Yeah,
End of week, worst case, I'm thinking beginning of next week.
okay, so you can put it out to all of us in a email.
Yep.
Good, and then if we think we need to, we can hopefully convene a short special meeting to say yay or nay on some specifics.
Yeah, the good thing about special meeting is that we only need to plan it out 48 hours. So, and the agenda would literally just be voting. So at least that we can get ironed out very quickly.
And you said Jenny's staying on until when?
Friday.
Oh. Okay. All right, so sooner the better. Any other questions on van ridership? Tai Chi and yoga classes.
Both are going well. Yoga, we're still averaging about 12 people. Tai Chi, we're about 5 a session. They're both
Is
going really well.
Is
So,
yoga in the 1870?
yes.
How do they get in since there's no director there anymore?
Sharon has the code.
Okay. They don't have a key now, they have a code?
There's a code to get the key.
Oh,
The key has a similar lockbox like we do for the
okay.
van.
I used to have the key to the place. I guess I can melt that now because it is useless. All right. So there's not an access problem there.
No.
All right. Putting COA funding for fall town meeting.
I put in a petition to the select board just to get COA funding and COA expansion on fall town meeting radar. At this point, I'm working out with Margaret whether or not we can request additional funding at that point, or whether or not it's maybe more just an info session to the town saying starting next fiscal year, we're trying to look to get additional funding for, the expansion for COA services. And we're also looking into as well, I think, to see if ARPA funding, which is federal funding, would cover anything as well. And then in conjunction to Margaret's comments last night from the select board, she's having me just kind of put together to see what would be needed for me to expand my hours, like basically expanding my job description.
Okay, so how's that seem to be going?
She just asked me to start doing it like 2 hours ago, but good so far.
In that whole 2 hours? All right.
So,
Yay.
yeah, so good so far. Yeah. Or 3 hours ago, yeah. So,
All right. Are you on the clock for those 3 hours?
yeah.
All right. See, now apply that to driver situation. Van driver interview, you said you've interviewed?
I had one
Wonderful.
on Friday, but he rescinded his offer.
Oh, okay.
So,
So
we're gonna keep the posting. It's still out. What I'm thinking too is whenever we get our revised van driver offer or like description, we can even try to put it in the Clinton item as well, if you guys would like.
Yeah. And also put it out, blast it out to the other COAs and community centers, because they may have, as I was mentioning before, some drivers who want more hours than those locations are offering them.
Okay.
Grab and go.
So I've tried a couple times to get in touch with the Berlin General Store and I haven't been successful.
Really?
I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you guys know ownership there.
Yep, I do.
Bob, I don't know if you want to try to reach out to him and see. I've tried a couple times and it hasn't been successful, but I'm hopeful that they would be willing to do a grab and go for us.
Any time frame in mind?
Well, I mean, if we were to do it, I would say it probably wouldn't, we would need like earliest, I think the end of October. Because
Okay.
towards the end of October, because, we'd have to finalize a menu and we'd have to get a head count. And then we'd have to figure out just getting him the funding.
Yeah. I think Ed Munter's just sort of getting traction there and seeing how things flow and not making too many changes right off and making small changes gradually. But I
Yeah.
certainly will be happy to talk with him and see if he's interested in doing that. I'd be surprised if he weren't, actually. But
Yeah. And like I said, I know like it must be extremely, it's very daunting to, be new at this and trying to get everything going. So, I mean, if he couldn't do it like right now, but, could do it in like a month or two, that's fine as well. I just kind of want to see what their thoughts are.
I do know every time I go in there, I see signs saying clerks and cooks wanted for
Yeah.
hire. But then you pick up the paper and every place you read as restaurants and so forth, they're hurting for help.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I'll contact him about that. Flu clinic,
The flu clinic is going to be at the Berlin Memorial School on November 7th. October 7th. That is the Thursday. It's going to be a week from Thursday. The hours are 3:30 to 6 p.m. There is an online registration. It's on the Facebook page, and I'm going to add it to our town website page as well.
and how about Berlin Neighbors Connect?
I can put it in there.
Yeah, definitely, and maybe even the Clinton item. Is it open just to Berlin residents? Or?
No, it's open to anybody as long as they have an appointment. It's open to anybody, and there's other neighboring, appointments as well for neighboring towns. So, if
Yeah.
somebody said like, oh, I couldn't make the 7th, but they could make the following day or something. We can always help them get that information as well.
Yeah, that's where intertown or interagency cooperation really helps.
We should maybe offer to help some seniors sign up for it too, because just in case.
Absolutely.
You have to fill out a little bit more than like your name and your age and all. So.
Okay, we can do that.
Kate, are you saying some of us seniors have a hard time with technology and paperwork?
No, I'm just saying that when people were signing up for COVID shots and whatnot, they needed some help. And the system, the way I've signed up my kids and the way they asked questions was a little bit confusing for somebody that's, very familiar with their information. So that's all. That it might pose confusion for others, and we should offer assistance in case they run into that. That's all.
Good.
Not
Absolutely.
making any assumptions about seniors.
Right, kids care.
And also to a lot of the local, doctor's offices and pharmacies are also offering it as well. So we can even, if this process seems to be a little too much for somebody, we can also help them register through another, through another place as well.
Have you had any inquiries about third shots? Booster shots?
I know one person, I helped one person get their booster. At this point, not as of yet, but I suspect once Moderna gets recommended for a third shot, yeah, I think we will, because yeah, we haven't gotten a ton of feedback yet from the Neshoba Board of Health.
I wish the people in charge of information and publicity about COVID shots would get their act together, because every time you hear something, it's people in this age group and this comorbidity situation are going to be eligible for it in whatever, October, blah, blah. And then you hear something else, then you hear something else. And I don't even remember how it happened, but I was at CVS and there was some talk about booster shots, and mine was all Moderna. And in the course of a very short conversation, they said, well, you want a booster shot? And I'm thinking, what? How did that happen? And they said, I said, sure. So they said, and then I'm thinking, like 2 months hence. And I said, how soon? And they said, well, how about Friday? And this was like a Wednesday. So I went in, I got my third shot. And then I hear the news, and everything you hear sounds like it's off in the distant horizon there someplace. It's just really crummy information.
Yeah, it's really difficult and it's really challenging because we can't send out a consistent message because there is no consistent message.
Exactly.
And, it seems like you're saying, Bob, that the criteria for that third shot is changing. And I
Yeah.
suspect it's going to be, I think, almost very similar to the way that the original shots were offered. I kind of suspect that they're going to almost go back to that kind of tier again.
Heaven help us.
Exactly. I would say to anybody, like, if you are at all interested in getting a booster shot, or if you have any questions, just please reach out to me. I will do what I can to help. Like I said, I've helped people, schedule boosters already. A lot of places have same day, if not next day, scheduling appointments available. I know that there's some people saying that they would rather have everybody get their first 2 shots than schedule the booster. But at this point, if you want it and you qualify, we'll do what we can to help get you scheduled so you can get what you need.
Yeah, I don't know what they're waiting on people to get their first shots is, because I have no clue where their brains are in terms of protecting themselves and others with receipt of the vaccine. But if you need a place to send people, call up CVS in Northborough. They're administering
Yep.
as well as flu shots.
Yeah, and then there's a little bit of confusion about, can you get COVID and flu vaccines at the same time? There's been a little confusion about that as well, because I know that they will offer both. So that's something else too. It sounds like from the very, very, very basics that I've seen, looks like it's going to be okay. But again, that's constantly changing as well.
I think CVS was offering both. I don't know if they did it the exact same day, but it's almost like somebody comes up to your right arm and somebody comes up to your left arm and you're done.
So,
Yeah, maybe they said it's confusing in the message and that they could schedule both at the same time, but not necessarily both being administered at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
so we're going to have to just wait and see for clarification on that as well, which it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, but I'm just saying if the information remains as fuzzy and changeable as it is right now, and you feel like you really would like to get the booster shot, call up CVS, and I'm sure. Because I got the same, they didn't give me some other off the wall brand. They gave me the same brand I got the first 2 times.
Yeah, they're all frozen.
Karen, can you see us?
Hello?
Hi, Karen. Oh, we may have lost Karen. Hold on. All right. So, yes. So when I know more about that, I'll let you guys know.
Okay, Triad.
So we were supposed to have a triad meeting on Thursday. That got pushed. I don't think we're gonna have one until November. That's between me, public service chiefs, and Tamara Bedard with the Neshoba Board of Health. But because Neshoba boards are going into the flu clinics, they're strung out for the month of October. So we'll reschedule hopefully for a day early November.
What does Triad stand for?
I don't remember exactly what it stands for, but I can tell you what it does.
Yes?
So
I don't know if
basically,
you guys can hear me, but you're all frozen. I can't see. At first I couldn't hear you. Now I can't see you. Anybody?
Karen, we can hear you.
And
We
I'm
can't see you,
gradually,
though.
and I'm
Okay.
gradually thawing out.
So triads basically help to address any senior needs in a town. So they work with local senior leadership, so council on aging directors, emergency services, boards of health, basically looking at what municipal support is there and what can be done to help make sure that people aren't left behind.
Okay,
So
that's a little, I don't think it isn't on the, well, I'll bring it up under any other business anyway. Any other questions on Triad and what's going on and when? Okay, Powder House News.
So our next content deadline is the 22nd. So what we'll do is I'll send out an email next week to everybody just saying we want to get content in at the latest the 15th. And then, like I said, if you guys wanted to submit it before the 22nd, we can see if we're going to get it, before that 5 to 7, that's 5 to 7 business days.
Is that what Liturgical Press is saying, that it's 5 to 7 business days from receipt of copy to sending out the finished product to us?
Yes, so it's 5 to 7 business days from whenever they receive Lori's submission. But if
Okay.
it's submitted like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they're obviously not going to get it till the next day.
Right. This last time, it wasn't Lori, it wasn't Liturgical, it was the Cotton Picking Post Office, because Peggy and I delivered the whole thing to them
Yeah.
on the, I forget what, it was like 2 or 3 days before the end of the month.
And
And
it,
the Powder House Newses came out like the 5th day of the next month. It was nuts. It went to Shrewsbury and then some paper monster or something ate them or something, and then we didn't get them back till the 5th or 6th. It was ridiculous.
I mean, I don't know if sending it through any other source such as like a UPS or FedEx would be any better, but it's probably going to be more expensive.
Yeah. Well,
So that's something to think about.
if we could, if the van's underutilized, we could send a driver around with them like a postal clerk. Never mind.
Good use of
Um,
gas.
Yes. In terms of material for it, we do have 2 people who are introducing themselves. One is the veterans agent,
Mhm.
and the other is, who is the other? Oh, Laurie, do you have them already? Laurie? Did we lose Laurie?
No, Lori's here.
Oh,
She's just
Is she on?
Or
muted.
you're muted, just in
There we
case.
go.
Yay.
Yeah, the other one is Mary Arata, right?
Mary Arata, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I've got a couple write-ups for it as well. Lori, I'll get that over to you hopefully by end of next week. And
Excellent.
then we can get kind of just an idea of what space we have left. We can post the the job as well, I think, in the Powder House. That'll be helpful. So yeah.
Okay,
We also have a 5Ws article on the gardens at the end of Pleasant Street at Central.
Oh, okay.
Their history, who does them, how it came about, and why it continues. Because it's such a visual presence for everybody. I've always wondered, sheesh, who does that? That's incredible. And
We
it's,
should take a picture of the scarecrow they made of the woman.
it looks like Jane.
Yeah,
Jane, yeah.
yeah, Jane, to
Cool.
deter people from picking flowers. That might be fun to just have the image to go with it. It's cute.
By the time I'm on the other side of the store coming toward Pleasant Street, I'm about to roll my window down. Say, hey, Jane, the thing looks great. Oops, I'm gonna look stupid because that's not Jane. Just a little short for Jane, but the white hair and just, aside from the fact that it's like 3.5 feet high, it looks a lot like Jane.
It
Maybe Jane,
does.
maybe Jane on her knees or something weeding. I don't know. But it is
I
cool.
think that's what it is, Bob. Every time somebody goes by, she's actually working. So it is about the height that she's.
Yeah. And the other article she's agreed to do for a future one is on the Sawyer family auctions that they had there for years,
Oh.
years. They utilized that building behind what's now the Clinton Savings Bank. They utilized what's now 19 Carter. They utilized something behind Jane's house, which is next door to the white building having the store in it and so forth. So there's quite a story and history in there.
Cool.
And if anybody we're always looking for, if anybody knows any other or thinks about any other things in town that are interesting and ought to be explored or answered or made intelligible to other people, let us know, because we can ask people and they're happy. It seems like they're happy to write up.
Maybe a story on the old shoe factory.
Yeah,
Oh, who would know about that?
Maybe Walter Bickford,
Or
he
Barry.
he might very well, or Barry,
Barry, yeah.
or June Miller,
Okay.
or some good soul.
So basically historical commission. Okay. You can
Yeah,
ask them.
right. There've got to be other, I mean, there was the guy from, I forget what his name is, from Clinton, did a very excellent, I think it was he, that did a good story about how the railroads used to run through town. And as you drive out the 5 corners, there are these big
Mhm.
supports for railroad tracks, and they're behind the houses along the West Street there. That would be interesting. And there was also one on the railroad tunnel in Clinton, which apparently they're now talking about is next to the reservoir. And they're talking about doing something to make it part of a walking trail and make it more and less dangerous. They have gates now where people keep prying the gates back, but that could be an interesting story. So there's lots of possibilities there.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, any other business? We'll take any kind, monkey or otherwise. No. All right. Let me scour my brain and think if there was something I wanted to bring up. Would you not think that I would have written it down? So I could just say, oh, how about, okay, so material for Powderhouse News, always welcome. Are we asking the chiefs?
Yeah, I will email them.
We better ask the police chief quick because he's going to disappear shortly, right?
Yep. November 1st, I think I think he leaves on the end of October.
Yep. And Chief Clark seems always willing to be helpful on that score.
Yeah, he's very helpful with that.
Okay, so grab and go. I need to talk with Ed Munter.
Yep, and I just sent you guys what I have so far for the van rates. So we'll
Good.
keep working on that.
Yep. So just let us know what you come up with.
Talking
here-
about the grab and go, Bob, is that something in place of the holiday party, or are we still thinking about doing something for the holidays, or?
That would be nice.
Up to you guys. Do you want to do something for the holidays?
Sure. Are we I know Judy Mills was feeling kind of overwhelmed by doing the Twinkle Tour thing last year because she did much of it herself. She did have help, but she did a lot of it herself. And so she was looking for other people to step in and help with that. I think she said she's expected some help from the Lions Club, but if any of you all out there in television land feel like assisting with that in some way, I'm sure the help would be more than welcome.
I mean, I told Judy personally I'd help out. I'll leave it up to you guys if the council wants to do anything.
Okay. I'll end up helping because I'm also on the Berlin Seniors, and Judy knows my license number, so she can slash my tires if I don't help.
Yeah, if there's anything I can do to help, I'm happy to.
That's right.
I
Great.
think the biggest challenge last year with the Twinkle Tour was it wasn't so much like getting the word out because that was fine. I think it was more just trying to get people's votes in and then just trying to get like an organized map. Correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong, Bob, but I think that was like the two biggest challenges that occurred last year. So
Yeah.
I think now that we've got like the giant highway sign, towards the corner of Central and Pleasant, that's definitely a way that we could do it. We could certainly designate, like a temporary email address or something like that, so people could vote that way. So it's not going to be as overwhelming to somebody. I mean, kind of going off of what, Judy was able to pull off last year, I think we could tweak that a little bit and make it so it's, before the end of, November, we'll know cold what exactly it's going to be. And then, we'll figure out, I know last year she wound up asking a lot of the local businesses if they wanted to donate prizes or things like that. So we'll just
Okay.
kind of have to figure it out.
Yeah, quite a few donated cash, actually.
Yeah. Yep.
I could probably help her out with the map this year.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I think that did become a big chore because there's a lot to put on it. And if you got too detailed, people would need a magnifying glass and flashlight while they were driving. They probably run into a tree. So I think it needed to maybe be a little bit bigger.
Okay,
So I think, it's good that we're talking about it now. I think like the Twinkle, again, because we don't know what COVID's going to bring. I would love to do a holiday party, but because we don't know where the numbers are going to be, we could tentatively think maybe, if COVID's bad, the grab and go with the Twinkle Tour, potentially if the numbers are good, maybe then we could look into a holiday party.
We could
But-
combine all and have grab and go Twinkies. Would
Yeah.
that-
Mm,
Certain people's
It would be
houses
shelf
could have-
stable, so we could do that if we wanted to. At the end of the Twinkle Tour, grab like your Snowball and your Twinkies, and then there you go.
mm,
Hostess would love
good
us.
idea.
The Twinkie tour. All right. Any other business or any other ideas to float by us? Oh, I do know what the other thing was, and that is I would really like to see I don't know if you call it a senior summit or something like that, where we get all of the players in town who offer or aspire to offer services to seniors, and have them all sit down and noodle about the best way to do it without replicating and without bumping into each other, and covering completely the needs of seniors, and getting their ideas about what questions to bring up at such a meeting as well. So
Okay.
anybody's-
Would this be in person or could this be also something like a Zoom?
at this stage, well, I don't know how many people participated. If there were a number, it would probably have to be by Zoom, because
Yeah.
everybody be speaking muffled behind a mask.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll certainly help get the word around. If anybody else wants to participate in that, let me know. And we
How
can,
about we do this? Do you want me to start reaching out to some of the other entities and seeing if they're available and what their schedules look like?
yeah, and then let's home in on a date and get the conversation going.
Okay. Okay.
Last
have-
year, among the chaos, we were trying to come up with ideas of things that people could do outside, and we had talked about a movie projector and screen, and I'm pretty sure I signed up to help with that and then did nothing with it.
So the reason why we didn't do anything with it was because the rates, the costs to get royalties to do the movies was going to be pretty expensive. Because it basically got to the point where if we did a drive-through, and it was going to be outside and we were going to collect dues. There was one kind of licensing, but if, say, for example, the town wanted to buy a license, to use, at any time for, like, say, for example, TV shows or something like that, it was actually going to be far cheaper. I think the licensing was going to be for the movies, just to get what we needed, was going to be at least like $300 to $500. So it was, at the time, it was just like, okay, and then
And
that
it's
wasn't
only
even
good for a short period of time, or?
Yeah, it was for a pretty short period of time. And then that wasn't even counting like the cost of the projector, because I had asked Goody, because I know he knew somebody for the projector. And even still, like, that would, like, with the screen, and that was even looking to be, a few $100s. So then it's like, do we want to spend, upwards of $1,000 for this?
Right,
So,
okay.
Maybe we can just contact the people making films all over the area and see if they'd like to come to town and do something. We could all be.
we could do like if somebody, had like short movies or things like that, and they wanted to kind of do like a indie film festival kind of a thing, but, using people's, original work. Again, I don't know if like any of the kids at Tonto or anybody are doing, any of the stuff. Like, that might be a way to do it, to get their audience.
Yeah.
I think that's an untapped resource. Everybody keeps saying, gee, if you need help, go to the high school, because the kids have to accumulate so many hours of assistance in order to blah, 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 whatever it is. But I'm not sure that, I'm not aware that we have utilized those helps. And I know with the Berlin seniors, it was a year or maybe even 2 years ago, somebody who was a junior or a senior there, a young lady, said she would be more than happy to help recruit students from Tohoto to work on projects, and we never utilized her, which I think is a big mistake. So maybe the course of action is first to get something that you can engage them with, and then go out and see if you can engage them.
Yeah, I was working with Goody last year on this, and then we had our bad COVID where it shut everything down. So
Yeah.
now that they're back in school, and now that they're, in a routine, I'll reach out to Goody and I'll see if we can get that up and going again. Because I do think, like, you're right, I'm in complete agreement. They're definitely a great resource, and, I think it'd be awesome to have a mixed generation,
Where's Goody been hiding? I haven't even seen him recently.
Where's what?
Where's Goody been hiding? I haven't seen him recently.
He's been posted at the school most of the time.
Yeah, he's been at BMS a lot.
Just as a little sidebar thing, our most absent member at all these meetings is Wes Durant. And I had occasion to go down and visit with him, a pretty good long visit. He's at St. Patrick's Manor in Framingham. And I have to say, I'm not nuts about his situation, because he had this injury to his legs. He needs to get the legs strong so he can go back home to his apartment, which he really would like to do, and he would like to remain involved. He hasn't gone away mentally at all. It's just his legs won't support him. And for some reason, it's, I can't go into, I suppose I'm getting into HIPAA violation by discussing details, but he ain't progressing, and it's really frustrating. It frustrates him, and it frustrates the hell out of me. I'd like to wring somebody's neck, but he needs somebody to get him up and moving so his legs get strong, and he's willing, but there's some goofy thing going on where it's not happening. So if anybody's inclined, I have his mailing address. If anybody wants it, let me know. I know Berlin seniors are sending him a get well card and so forth. And I think maybe be cool if we did as well. And
I sent one a while ago. I don't know if he got it.
okay.
But if you want, send me the address again, Bob, and I'll send one out.
All right. But additionally, if anybody else wants to send him one, let me know, and I'll give you his mailing address.
Okay.
Or I'll send his mailing address out to everybody on email.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Any other business? I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Kate Bliss,
Aye.
Lori Fairby,
Aye.
where did I just go with this? Rachel Boyer,
Aye.
Wes Durant, aye. Pat Wheeler,
Aye.
Bob Blair, aye. Did I miss anyone? Karen Schultz?
Aye.
All right. Unanimous.